Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Jared Thomas, and welcome to episode 3 of Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. And today, I have a very, very talented, multi-hyphenated, veteran music producer, AI specialist, and just overall creative business consultant. So help me welcome Greyson Zeng.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Glad to
No
be
problem.
here.
Thank you for joining me, man.
Course.
Um, there's so much to cover here today.
Yeah.
Like the more and more I found out about you, I was like, oh wow, it's about to be a really interesting show. But I kind of want to just start because I feel like you've kind of had a bit of a journey in different transitions. So I kind of just want to start at the beginning, and we're just gonna start from the beginning and just go all the way to where we are today.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I was born into a very musical family in China. So my family are one of the biggest families that plays a very traditional Chinese instrument called zither from generation to generation. So I was kind of forced into playing that since I was like, I don't know, 5, 6 years
You
old.
said, what was it called?
Zither.
Zither. What is this? Um, what can you compare it to? Like,
There really isn't any Western instrument you can compare that to. It's a very, very ancient Chinese instrument. But yeah, basically I was kind of forced into playing that because everyone, my cousins, my uncle, my aunt, they're all, professional at playing that. I was practicing that like 10 hours a day since the age of 5. Forced into it, of course, you get beaten once a while if you're not sitting there practice. It's very strict.
So it's
Yeah,
it's like tradition.
it's very tradition,
Okay.
but I think that really shaped my understanding and appreciation for music from a young age. Moving forward, came to the U.S. when I was about 13, 14 years old, and that's when I went to South Dakota at first. Spent my first 8 years there, and that's when I found music production because there's absolutely nothing else to do. It's a very boring place. I really got into this artist, Swedish producer named Avicii. Rest in peace to him. But I was obsessed with him. Watched all his interviews. Found out the DAW he used to produce music called FL Studio. Illegally download like a cracked version of it, and start just messing around with it. And again, from there is, I think I did that for at least 7, 8 years, where I would just lock myself in the bedroom after school every day for like 8 hours.
Can we reverse?
Of
So
course.
you said you at 13, 14, you went to South Dakota.
Yeah.
How did so what transit? It just the family moved.
No, I actually got sent there by I actually came to the U.S. by myself.
Okay.
It was a long story short. It was a punishment.
Okay.
I was a very rebellious kid back home, so my parents
okay.
sent me there. There's a place that you cannot do bad because there's nothing for you to
To do, yeah.
So of course, my parents sent me there, and yeah, I really didn't like anyone there. To be honest, it's a very, for a better term to describe it is there's no diversity. So I was just like, all right, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah.
Lock myself in my bedroom, start producing for 7, 8 hours a day, sometimes even 10 hours.
And this was you self-taught.
Self-taught YouTube video,
Wow.
just messing around. But I think because of the amount of space and time I have in that age, I was really able to just hone in and craft my skill when it comes to music and production. Yeah, that's kind of how I get started with my production journey.
So okay, so you was sent to South Dakota, self-taught music production, and then I know you have an accolade. You start to kind of create your own music, if you will, and you start to release that from an international standpoint. And then that led to you releasing a song on what the most the biggest, the most major EDM label.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So I remember the first official release I've done is for this guy. His name is Sterling Fox. So he's a songwriter for Lana Del Rey video game.
Yes.
A lot of Madonna record.
Right.
I connected to to him randomly. I literally, I saw his music on SoundCloud back in the SoundCloud day. Literally messaged him through a SoundCloud message and say, hey, I'm this producer from China who's in South Dakota. I just started making music. Here's some of my demo. Would love to hear your feedback. And surprisingly, he replied to me next day. He loved it. And that's, when we started. And I think I was 14 at the time, and we started developing that relationship. And he said, hey, I have this my original music from my label. Would you like to remix it? And I remixed 2 of his tracks, I think in the age of 14 and 15.
Wow.
And he kind of took off from there. And then I think a year after that, after my second release with him, I found another songwriter from Canada. Her name is Laurel Barker. She's one of the biggest Canadian songwriter. Also connected with her through some call message. The same thing again. Hey, I'm this little kid.
You was on your grind.
Yeah. send her a demo. I was like, I've been a big fan of your stuff because I actually am. I've heard a lot of her stuff before. I was just trying my luck. Say, here's one of my demo. I would love for you to cut a top line on top of it. And she loved it. She cut a vocal on it and sent it to me literally within a week.
Wow.
And then that got picked up by a smaller record label in Netherlands. It's called Turning Up Music. But that song essentially, that song got awarded Original Record of the Year in China. And is pretty crazy how it happened because me and Sterling Fox, first of all, we still have not met to this day.
Wow.
We never met each other, but with Laurel, we never met until literally 2 years after, or maybe even 3 years after we did that track together. The song was nominated for that award in city of Shenzhen in China.
Wow.
The government flew me back to China and flew her back from Canada.
Wow. Because you're still in South Dakota.
I was in South Dakota,
Okay.
and she's in Canada at the time. Flew us back to Shenzhen to accept the award and to perform together.
Wow.
And that's how I got to meet her for the first time in person, actually.
Oh.
And then after that, I was just doing the same thing, just finding out contact online, sending my demo out. Essentially, I forgot how I got connected with this A&R from Armada Record, which if you are in the EDM scene, Armin van Buuren, which is the EDM legend. That's his label, which is also one of the biggest electronic dance music label in the world. And they loved my first record. I sent to them, they want to sign it. And that's when I became the first Chinese producer to ever got a release to a major European label.
Wow.
And through that, after that, I had a second release there. But that's kind of how to get started.
Awesome. So is EDM, is that your sweet spot? Is that kind of the genre that you focus on?
EDM is how I get started with music production, and I did that for a very long time. So it's always a special place for me.
Yeah,
but
it's your core. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always have a special place in my heart. But after I got to Berklee College of Music in Boston, I got really exposed to all different type of music from all different culture. Started doing R&B, a lot of hip hop, a lot of pop record. Essentially, I started doing lots of film scoring stuff, for gaming, for film scoring. So, but yeah, EDM has always been my special place.
Yeah, and you automatically transitioned. So let's talk about going to Berklee.
Yeah.
How was that experience? Like that's top-notch music school. So like, how was that? And did you know you want to kind of major in music, or just something that since the whole ordeal with you getting on the major label and releasing, do you think that was just kind of your path, or is it something you feel like, okay, no, I need to do this, I need to go study this?
I always knew that's what I wanted to do, and it's funny you ask because I remember when I was applying for college, I knew Berklee is the only school I want to go to. My dad actually forced me to apply 10 other schools just for plan B because I was a very bad student. Nobody think I would even get to college.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was terrible at school. It's not my thing. And I purposely messed up the application so I would not get expected by those schools. But luckily enough, it was actually during that award. It was actually also my birthday. When I got flown back to China, the same day that morning, I woke up to an acceptance letter from Berklee.
Wow.
And I got there. But Berklee is a great place. I think I have mixed opinion about it. But
What was your actual? I'm sorry to cut you off. What was your actual major?
So I got in as music production and engineering.
Okay.
But essentially, towards my second half of my time there, I switched to music business and marketing.
What made you do that switch?
I think I just didn't want to. Well, at the time, at least, I also there's a lot of other factors because of my visa. I just didn't think music production was a feasible way for me to continue as a career. Also, for the visa sake, I need to actually have a career that is easier for me to get a visa. That's why I made the switch. But I'm really happy I made that switch because I really learned a lot from the just the business side of things.
Awesome. And while at Berkeley, you did an internship for Tricky Stewart?
Yes. So
from a music business marketing standpoint.
Yeah, music business marketing. So I remember it was my last semester at Berkeley during COVID. I was hired by this company, which the company was hired by RG3, which is Tricky's team and his family. But through that internship,
what was the team? What's the name again?
RZ3 Records.
Okay.
Yeah, formerly Red Zone Entertainment. But through that internship, we just really connected, and we never even met each other in person at that time. It was all through Zoom. But for whatever reason, I think we just really, really connected with each other. And fast forward.
And did you know? Because I think Trick is probably more in the chill, laid back. And people is a little bit more familiar with the Dream or what have you.
Yeah.
So did you know who he was? Like when you?
I knew who he was.
Oh, okay.
Because since I was a kid, I remember at least hearing Baby and Umbrella and Single Lady before I even came to the States.
It
was a big inspiration for me. So it was kind of surreal to be in that environment with him and the rest of his family. But yeah, so fast forward a year after I graduated from Berkeley, I was in Boston. I just really wasn't happy. There's no music environment there. You just, as a creative, once you left that tribe, you just feel like you're drying out,
And what brought you to Boston?
Berkeley, the school.
I thought you said after you graduate. This is.
Yeah. So I was in Boston that entire time. I stayed another year.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
After Berkeley as well.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I just kind of feel like there's a calling. I don't know what it is, but in my heart, I just know I need to come here. And I just called up Joshua, which is, do you call it nephew? So Joshua is Tricky's brother's son.
Yes.
Yeah, so his nephew, I just call him up, be like, hey man, listen, this is where I'm at with it, and I feel like I need to come down here. And he was like, yeah, dude, like we would love to have you here.
Awesome.
And then literally.
Not to, because I want to make sure we kind of touch on like what is it from a music marketing standpoint did you do for Tricky? Like
yeah, so I worked on one of his artists, MKXYZ, for her debut EP, Sweet Spot.
Okay.
So I was working with them on marketing, creative, in that
getting exposure to the awareness to that. Awesome, cool, okay, awesome. And then so you was in Boston. You're like, okay, it's post-graduation. You're like, okay, there's no inspiration here. There's no music here.
Yeah.
You reached out to Trick's nephew, Joshua, and stated that you wanted to come to Atlanta. Okay, and that's kind of fast forward to how you got to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you would continue to do music marketing for Tricky's family once you first got here?
Actually, no. I kind of started doing my own thing. I started working with a couple of different companies since I got to Atlanta. But yeah, and then I met a lot of amazing people through his family, which I'm always grateful for. But essentially, I think whatever reason put me on this path. Right now, I'm fully focused on artificial intelligence, emerging technology, and how creative professionals, entertainment companies, record labels, music producer, etc., can really leverage this technology to thrive or even survive in the next couple of years, because the rise of these technologies is completely changing the landscape of entertainment.
It really is. Do you feel like with that internship doing music marketing, was that kind of like a segue that kind of helped you get into the AI? Did you know that you wanted to dive into AI and the things of that nature? Like at what point did you figure out that that was going to be your thing?
At the time, no, but I've always been I always pay very close attention to this technology. It wasn't, a foreign concept to me. But even before that, I worked on a lots of, innovation technology project, metaverse, Web3, AR, VR. So, I've always been super into technology. But with AI is when ChatGPT first came out, I remember it was last year in November. That's the first time in my life I realized, okay, I can actually get my hands on this technology, and that's when my brain started turning. I was like, okay,
this is about to,
this is about to mess everyone up. The entire business model within the music business is about to change.
Yeah. So do you? Because, like, aside from AI, like you mentioned, metaverse and VR. And you are a creative business consultant, so you educate and help creatives in the entertainment industry kind of utilize these tools as new technology. Like, what are some things that you help these creatives with? Like, what are some things that from a consulting standpoint do they come to you for in regards to the emerging technology?
Yeah, so my first project I worked on Metaverse and Web3 was to the first company I worked with called Upbringing Media, which also based out of Atlanta at the time. At the time I wasn't really working with creatives. I was working with mostly brands.
Okay,
so we work,
okay.
we work with Cheesecake Factory, work with 300 Entertainment,
Yes.
Warner, those bigger brands. But recently, started really working with the community. So Wendy Day, I'm not sure if you're familiar with her.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, she's a person who did the Cash Money deal. Me and my business partner Ciara, we consulted her and her entire team on how to integrate this technology into their business model. And also a lot of people around me, record label producers, now working with just creative in general, from film industry, videographers, photographers, music producers, songwriters, on how to really adapt this to, leverage.
Because it really impacts them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's go back to AI, because this, we're all in the world of AI.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of kind of just buzz around that, especially from an ethical standpoint. I know from music alone, like there's people likeness are being stolen. People from a copyright, that's kind of being a situation as well. So it's kind of just a recurring conversation that we've been having. Like what is your opinion overall from just kind of ethical compliance standpoint regarding AI?
Well, I understand the concern from a creative standpoint, especially with with the strike that's happening with the movie studios that are saying we're going to use your likeness to create movies and not pay you. That's messed up, right? But also another thing is that U.S. is very, very behind when it comes to regulation. The fact that I'm not sure if you're familiar with this technology company called Baidu, which is essentially the Google of China. They just released their large language model 2 weeks ago. The first version they have, when you create an AI-generated image, there's a watermark at the bottom already. That's extremely important, because that watermark alone is going to resolve a lot of copyright issue. Also, just from using an AI image and say that you created that. You can't lie with that anymore. But the U.S. government are not even. They're just extremely behind, which is very frustrating. But when it comes to independent creatives, this is the first time in our history we have a technology that the creative can truly use it to leverage it and empower themselves. Because right now, you can create the most high quality content with 80% budget cut, with 90% more efficiency.
Yeah.
Now you can actually say, all right, the studios, you wanna screw us over, we're not gonna go to you for business anymore. We're gonna align ourselves with other highly talented creatives and you who knows how to utilize this technology. Do it ourselves.
So it's powerful if you use it right.
If you use it right. But I think, again, I understand the concern because a lot of times this concern and fear really comes from lack of knowledge, understanding of technology. Once you understand it, you start thinking, okay, how me as a creative can use this to empower myself. And that's a different story. But unfortunately, we still need to do a lot of push when it comes to really distributing that education and resources to the creatives, because not everyone that has done the years of research and study like me. So I understand when you first dive into this world, it's very overwhelming and scary. But again, that shouldn't be an excuse for you to not learn about it, because to be honest, you really can't. Right now, we're talking about you either adapt or you won't survive in this.
Do you feel that because of all these emerging technologies, AI, VR, metaverse, do you feel like it's slowly going to make music labels and other creative entities like obsolete? Like,
oh yeah, music record labels, especially. Record label, nobody will care about record label 5 years from now, maybe even sooner.
Wow.
The reason for that is, again, why would an artist or someone go to record label? Because they don't have the resource. They need money, they need funding. But what most people also don't understand is that, let's say you get a $5 million deal. It's not your money, you're in debt.
Yeah, because you got to owe it back anyway.
You're in debt.
Yeah.
But now you have this technology, you can say, bet I'm gonna do everything myself.
Yeah.
And I don't have to give up my creative control to you. I still own 100% of my masters. If I really need the money, take a bank loan.
Yeah, because that's definitely what advance is.
And when it comes to distribution, social media, if your stuff is really quality enough, and if you really, have good marketing, if you really are creative enough with it, you can grab people's attention, post consistently, at least once a day for 3 months. I guarantee you, your stuff will blow up. So I say this to say, why would anyone still need to go to record label?
True.
For connection, yes, I understand part. But if that's the case, record label needs to completely rethink their business model.
Yeah.
Maybe you acting more as a agency now, a broker, a relationship broker.
Yeah. It's weird, like the whole AI and all the emerging technology. It's kind of like a gift and a curse, because when you break it down like that, I was like, oh, that's dope. Like, yeah, this is awesome. But then in the same lane, like there was an instance on, I saw in the media that someone who did a AI Drake song was trying to submit for a Grammy. And they knocked it down, the whole idea of it. But that's reality. Like, there's going to be more instances like that. So it's kind of like, where's the happy medium? Like in all of this, because it's just, I don't know. It's like, if used correctly, it's powerful, but then it's just messing up the whole just creative sphere, if you will, in the same lane. So it's just I'm kind of just like, I don't know exactly how to feel about it just yet, because it's so it's polarizing.
Yeah, it's really hard to find the happy medium, because one, you're talking about pushing back to the power, which is record label, those sense, but also you want to empower the creative. So. And my heart is always going to be standing with the independent creatives, because these people, they are the fundamental structure of the music business. Without creative, there's no business for you to work on.
Do you think some of this emerging technology, AI, is a result of kind of like, I won't say talentless, but like the oversaturation of just artists in today's music industry? It's just like, it's more like, I guess, social media driven, popularity contests, what have you. Do you think any of that is a kind of a result to that?
It's not a result, it definitely amplifies it, because with the technology, what technology does, especially when it comes to creative,
anybody can just play a song,
specifically. What it's doing is making creativity more accessible. Because think about back in the day, you need a big budget to record a song.
Oh,
you need to have a studio space. You need to actually hire session players to come in requires time and a lot of money.
Yeah.
When laptop came out, when audio workstation, digital, sorry, when DAW come out, I'm blanking on the word right now. Everyone can hop on a laptop and make music in their bedroom.
Home studios, yeah.
Right? It's just more accessible nowadays.
Yeah, and affordable.
You can create any sound you want.
Quality sound too.
Quality sound within a laptop. As a matter of fact, 95% of the track you hear nowadays are on the radio are probably produced by some 15 years old kid sitting in his little bedroom or dorm room.
Yeah.
Right? But with AI it's different because AI is pushing that even more because, even let's say with laptop, with a DAW that you can access to, you still need to have a very strong understanding of how to operate this machine. You need to have a very strong understanding of how to, let's say, arrangement, right? Songwriting, mixing. What AI is doing is making that whole process 90% easier, right? So for example, I can literally pull out my phone, I can create a most photorealistic image for you in the next 3 seconds. That is something we cannot even imagine a year ago.
But and that's why I'm so iffy about it because it's just like it just lessens the creativity. Like people who I consider myself a songwriter, and the fact that you can use AI to write a song, like it just takes away from people who are talent.
But that's the thing, go back to your point when it comes to saturation, right? That what's going to happen in the next couple of years, we're going to see that as the market, especially when the content market is going to become extremely saturated because
it's already oversaturated.
But it's going to be even more because now everyone and their mom can create the most high quality content within a snap of a finger.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen is who's going to stand out?
Right.
The people that's going to really stand out and get back to the spotlight is going to be the creative that really have a strong fundamental with creativity with their craft.
True.
But also understand how to utilize this technology. Now they can merge both worlds, create the best high quality content with human touch because the human touch, you can never replace human touch.
That's true.
But now they can do things faster and better. Those are going to be the people that's really going to thrive in this new world.
It's going to be a hybrid of true talent and technology.
Yeah.
Interesting. So EnterTech?
Yeah, EnterTech. So, that's where the entertainment industry is going because you have biotech, you have fintech. In entertainment, there's EnterTech, right? Entertainment technology merging because essentially, if you think about it, our current industry is based on technology. Everything we do, the camera you use, microphone, even the software we use to produce music is all technology. So that's always has been a fundamental structure of our industry. But right now, AI just really accelerated that speed towards that direction.
So again, you are a creative business consultant. So just to kind of explain to the people kind of what your services and how you can basically help, how you can add value to their business, and how you can help these emerging technologies from a, I guess, implementation standpoint, just kind of help better suit their business.
Yeah, so I help creatives, individual creatives, professionals, entertainment companies on understanding and identifying ways and areas they can really implementing these technologies such as AI, metaverse, Web3, and VR into their business infrastructure to just help them to be more efficient, more cost-effective, and also just create better content and just help them to accelerate their creativity. And one thing I want to emphasize is, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence technology, it's not meant to replace your creativity. It's a tool that you use to really amplify and accelerate your creative process. Awesome. So for example, video editing, right? AI can easily edit out 1 hour clip for you, turn that into 50 small clips in 5 seconds. Awesome. And now you can go back to those little clips and you can actually start really operating in a high level creative standpoint, saying, okay, I like this, I want to make adjustment from this and that point. is saving you time, and time is the biggest currency in our
Increases
world.
efficiency and productivity,
Yep.
basically.